so sweet, a life without it is so bitter. But baby, I'm still rocking with you. No, I ain't a quitter. Darling, don't you waste my time. Let me know what's on your mind. Seems like a mess, don't wanna change, just wanna taste. So tell me what you're thinking, babe. And tell me what you're drinking, babe. I wanna be a cup of tea, boy, brew just how you like it. Be my coffee in the morning, waking me up free.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Live in the Studio. Today we are here with Melody. Melody, can you introduce yourself to us and tell us? So the first conversation was like, what am I going to introduce as?
Right. So my name is Melody Alexis Jackson, and I'm using my full government name right now so I can explain this next part. On stage, I go by Emaejai, Emaejai, which is a spelling out of my initials. So there we go.
So for people that don't know, for your music, what are you releasing your own original music right now, or you're playing out in Charlotte? Kind of tell people what you do.
Yeah, I have been for, I guess, the past few years gigging in Charlotte occasionally, at least, and singing backgrounds more often. But yes, I am working on my own music. I do a little bit of production, so getting all that done myself at this point in time. And I've been saying that I'm going to be releasing a single for the past 2 or 3 years. So I have stopped
we've
giving
all been there.
deadlines and dates. So yeah.
Yeah. Our first EP. So we dropped as a band, we dropped the EP in 2019 in January, right?
Nice.
That's when we did that. And the way that I kind of approached that, I had the same thing. Like we had been saying, we're going to put out a song, we're going to put out this, we're going to do this forever.
Yeah.
And eventually I just like scheduled a listening party and invited everybody.
There you go.
And so we had like, I think not like a ton, like, cause I didn't want it to be like people are going to expect it, like, but I probably had, maybe I think we invited like 15 people over.
Yeah.
And like, hey, we're working on an EP. Do you guys want to come hear it on this day? And I just like threw out a day.
Gotcha.
And I remember getting to that time and it's just like, oh man, the struggle was real to get them all finished up. One of them, we tracked the harmonies like 3 hours before people got there. We were still just like coming in hot. With your recording process at home, are you, I know you sell beats, right? That's something I've seen online. So is that how you kind of got into production?
No. So I went to school for emerging media and communication.
Oh, okay.
And really the goal that I had in mind when I chose that major was I'm going to be doing my own stuff for my music career.
Yeah.
And I want to know how to do that. So I guess I got my first sound design and audio engineering classes there, and kind of just started playing around in GarageBand when I got my first MacBook and, eventually upgraded to Logic, worked with Pro Tools at school a little bit and, just kind of built my skills up by experimenting.
Yeah.
But yeah, the beat selling is relatively recent, relatively new for me. I was like, I have all these things just sitting on my hard
you're
drive.
already making them.
Exactly.
Basically.
I might as well get some use out of them. Or somebody can get some use out of them.
Was there anything in school, like working on like Pro Tools or stuff like that you guys, like, was there an experience that you got to have that was kind of different or cool?
Well, I would say that whenever we had like a free project to do, I would choose to do it about music or whether it was mine or talking about it. And there was a music video that I did for a song that I wrote on a different YouTube channel that's...
Is it still available? Can we go find it? Not right now, but later.
We can look at it later. I have to make sure that it's public. I know it's up, but I have to make sure that it's public. But I had one and I submitted it as a class project. One of my friends took the video, but I got to work in Pro Tools recording. We had like little recording studio rooms in school and Zoom recorders and all kinds of stuff. So yeah. That was fun.
So now is Logic what you'd say is like your preferred?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Same. I'm using so my first is kind of funny. My first introduction to recording was my dad had a coworker that had bought up like a little mixer, a few SM58s, like just like performance vocal mics, and then a copy of a software called Record, which is made by Propellerhead. And this was before, I don't even know, gosh, I don't know what year that software released, but it was really early. So now they make Reason, and it was like the starter pack, if you will. Like it was the $90 something. I don't know what it cost, but it was all it could do was record.
Gotcha.
You could not really do much else with it. You could play your guitar into it and you could sing into it. And there's like, really basic, like rudimentary stuff in terms of making like drum machines or whatever else, but nothing that I really understood.
Gotcha.
It was just sort of like, I want to remember the guitar riffs, so I need somewhere to put them. And that was where it started for me. And I got a copy of Cubase, I think like 4.5 after that, and I rocked somewhere between 4 and 6 up until like less than like a year ago, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Like I mean,
Gotcha.
so we jumped maybe 7 versions of Cubase after
All at once.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
like whatever, however many we missed, we jumped them all at one time, and it was quite the adventure. But one of the cool things about DAWs now is that like more and more stuff's getting incorporated. Does Logic, I don't know, I wouldn't know it, does Logic have a tuning algorithm in it?
Yeah, they
stock?
do have pitch
Do they?
correction.
Yeah, I was say I've never used it.
Pro
but-
Tools needs to add it. I don't understand why the number one DAW doesn't have pitch correction in it.
And then Pro Tools is just like not user friendly for first time users.
Well, neither
at
is
all.
Cubase, but I think the thing about it for me, like Pro Tools, is just building around the standard, right? Like all these different studios, they all work together well because they're all using the same stuff. And
Right.
I've always liked Logic. Well, and I didn't have it. I had it early on when I started doing stuff in like 2009, 2010. And then didn't have it again until I bought this laptop like 2 years ago. And they added all that drum machine stuff into Logic. And I was like, this is so
pretty
convenient.
fun. I don't know if you heard, we did a cover of Just the Two of Us. You've seen that at all?
I think I knew that you did it. I don't know that
I'll
I've
show it to you
listened
later.
it.
We did that I did that, the drum parts all in Logic, which was really fun. That was just like she got it on this, and I was like, I'm going to have fun with this. And it's pretty dang good. I was surprised. And you don't even, most of the stuff we do for like clients and stuff, when I'm programming drums, I'm doing it all by literally like like note by note kind of thing. I've never really had like just like it just throws out grooves until you find one you like, which is really strange.
Yes.
But I did enjoy it. I don't know that I would do it for all of them, but for like what we did that one time, it was just trying to come up with something simple and quick and fun. But
Yeah, for sure.
So how did you get started like playing and singing and stuff?
So I took my first piano lesson at the age of 3. My parents had the foresight to put me in piano. I don't know if I was messing around with the piano and they thought it would be good or what. I just know that
Did you
I was there.
have one in your home or something growing up?
We had a little keyboard, like a little Casio with
okay.
the little flimsy keys. And then when I was in first grade or second grade, my school's principal donated her upright piano to me. She was like, it's just sitting here. My kids are gone, so you can have it if you want.
That's cool.
And my parents just got rid of that piano this year, so it's been in there
all that
whole
time.
time. Yeah.
Wow, awesome.
And so I started at the age of 3, went through a few piano teachers in my lifetime. I didn't stop taking piano lessons until I was like in 9th or 10th grade.
Wow.
And I've been singing for as long as I can remember, pretty much. Started singing at church around 3rd grade, I think. But yeah, my dad's a musician as well, so he would always be singing. I remember.
Your dad play?
He plays or he does tinkles a little bit on piano. He tells you, or he will tell you that he doesn't play guitar, but that's a lie. And he sings.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Now, was he gigging while you were growing up, or was he playing at church while you were growing up, or what that? Because her dad was a saxophone player, guitar player. He was always playing at church, but he was also, they were constantly at some club or wherever, and he was just playing a sax solo, which was pretty cool.
Gotcha.
Did you kind of share any of that, or?
So my dad was a gigging musician before I got to the earth. So before I got here.
Before you arrived.
Yes. And I think I remember him saying, not personally, remember him telling about when my mom got pregnant. He was like, well, I got to start making some real money now. So he moved to different avenues of employment after that.
Yeah.
And he actually didn't accept Christ until I was 4, which is around the same time that I did. So there wasn't as much of like the playing in church thing, but he was always playing around the house.
Yeah.
And he's a songwriter as well. So always writing songs. Cool. And
do you have like favorite songs that your dad's written, like that come to mind? Yeah.
Yeah. I sure do. He has, I think the first one that sticks out. So quick segue, or quick
Go for
detour, whatever. My dad got me a guitar when I was in 7th grade, an acoustic guitar. Only he really got himself a guitar because he's always playing it. And
hey, that's just smart.
Yeah.
That'll be me.
Exactly. When I moved out, technically I could have taken it because it was my guitar, but I'm like,
yeah,
it's yours. My mom calls it his girlfriend sometimes. But the first song that I remember him writing on that was actually about tithes and offerings. And then there's like this fun little roundabout part at the end where it's like, overflow, cup runneth over, overflow, cup runneth over. And you have to have like two people to
do it.
Yeah. So I really like that one.
That's cool. Did your dad write while you were growing up?
My dad has the same problem I have, where writing is not does not come naturally. And he would say that. That's not just me saying that. He would say that too. So I think he did. I don't think any of the songs he ever wrote were really ever really saw the light of day. He probably has some like demos on cassette tapes somewhere that you could probably
We have
dig
a couple
up,
like cover band CDs, I think, of his, or like Christmas CDs specifically. He gets asked to do a lot just because I think there are less and less people that play saxophone in like a
well, it's not just
in like a bar band
he pretty much
setting.
plays everything that doesn't have a bow, like stringed instrument type.
He's really good.
Nice.
He's really good. Well, we want to feature him on a song at some point. We just haven't. They lived in Seattle literally from whatever 2015 till now. They moved back, so we just have not been in the same space. So we went over there this past weekend, right? Or Monday. And they're like an hour and a half away now. And so we drove down there, and like you walk up their stairs, and it's pretty. Your dad's got his setup like in full swing at this point. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So let me ask you, I know we were talking earlier about you're doing vocal coaching right now. And I'm always curious for this because you even said it, like some stuff comes more naturally to others. When you are teaching runs, or when you're trying to develop or maybe just learn one that's new for you, is there like an approach you have that is, because I know it's something you're really good at. We had you in here tracking the other day, and it was pretty cool.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad I did well, because sometimes the vocals are like, not this moment. The thing that I hate the most, I think, is when I do a great run and I didn't record it, and I can't remember how it went. Yeah, it's just gone. So always press record when you can. But as far as learning vocal runs, I'd say one of the biggest things that's helped me is repetition and slowing things down. So when you're doing a run, you want to be precise in hitting all of the notes. And oftentimes what's most impressive about runs is the speed with which people do it. But you can't learn how to
Yeah.
do it when you're going that speed. So YouTube has a great feature that I tell all my students about, just taking the playback speed down to 75 or even 50% and get all of those notes and then practice at that speed. And you'll find that your muscles will actually adapt to going between the different notes, and you can speed it up and it sounds great. So
Nice. Do you have like, what do you remember any of like the first ones that you tried? Like early on, like, or maybe just like songs that you love to sing when you were younger?
Yeah, I think of this Karen Clark Sheard song. I think it's called I Gotta Write. And actually, I didn't think that I could do runs. I had somebody early on tell me that, yeah, your voice is not going to do that. Your voice is like mine. And I just believed them. And when I first got into taking vocal lessons in 8th grade, my vocal teacher was like, why not? Why can't you do it? And I was like, that's a good question. Why can't I? But she has she has a lot of runs. Karen Clark Sheard is just, like definitely a vocal standard. But yeah, I think that was one of the first ones that I took the time to learn. And in more recent times, my current vocal coach had me working on I Care by Beyonce, and I had to slow that one down going from the second verse into the chorus, because I was like, I can't get it, at regular speed.
I watched I watched the guy who mixed one of her songs. He did like a seminar at Full Sail, mixing one of her tracks, and I watched through this whole thing, and literally like, even you take like everything off of it, she's just insane. She's very, very good.
Absolutely.
It's pretty cool you always know like people that are that like have a certain amount of like popularity. Like, that when you get up to that level, like obviously that like Beyonce or Lady Gaga or Sia or like these people that like, they're just Adele, like these different people that are just renowned for like how great they are. But then when you get to hear like a raw track of somebody like that, it's a different experience. You're like, oh no, that's not like they really are like that insane. Like Tori Kelly comes to mind too. It's just, it's just stupid how good she is.
I just always kind of viewed it kind of like anything athletic, like sports. Like anyone could run a marathon. Some people are better at running than others. You know what I mean? But like for me, like runs don't come naturally, especially ones that go up. And it's like, could I get to the point where I could run a 5K without dying? Yeah. Am I going to?
Ariana Grande is another one. Yeah. Like every time you watch her, I mean, it doesn't matter if she's on Jimmy Kimmel and there's no editing, or if she's on a record. It's just this exact same. Yeah. It's crazy. The vocal impressions are the fun ones from her, where she does like the Britney Spears stuff. Those are pretty funny.
Absolutely.
So when you're writing, do you have like a writing process like for your songs?
I feel like my process has changed so much. When I first started out, it was just like I was playing, or I would play around on the piano more. So it was like a 50-50 toss up as to whether I was going to get the chords and melody first, or if I was going to get the words first. But now I feel like I draw more from experiences when I'm writing. So I'll usually get the words first, or I'll get an idea and
like
then
a concept.
Do gibberish for the syncopation that I want for the rest of it. And then once I've got all that down, I'll just go and chord things out and figure out how I want the music to sound.
So. When you're right now, like genre wise, what you're working on, are you kind of going more acoustic based, or are you going more like, I know you're making beats, so is it like, where do you feel like that's fallen in terms of genre right now?
I have no idea, honestly.
Do you have a hope like for what you want it to be?
I'm kind of of the opinion that I just want to make good music, whatever the genre is. And I kind of hate how, for a lot of artists, they get kind of
pigeonholed.
Into a particular category. Like going back to Beyonce or Chloe and Halle, for example, they have like a lot of different things that they do with their music and they experiment with, or Tank and the Bangas or something like that. There's like a wide variety of stuff they do. I also think of my sis, I call her my sister. I'm an only child, but I've adopted a lot of siblings. She goes by One Way North, Dominique Elcock, and she does like a fusion of rock, a little Afro, some R&B, a little, like there's just a lot in the pot.
Yeah.
So for me, I guess I have a little bit of R&B, some gospel influences, a little rap, a little bit of jazz. So it's just, I don't know.
Yeah. Ours is a blend of our different upbringings, and that was a unique thing of like recognizing like, oh crap, like if you were to put us, if you looked at both of our playlists, especially when we were younger, of like what we were both listening to, it was like here and here. There was no, I would put on a song, she'd be like, can we change that? She would put on a song, I'd be like, can we change that? I mean, we just did not.
Even still now, we share a Spotify account and he'll get on there sometimes. He's like, what are you listening
like,
to? And I'm like, I was trying to get hyped up, okay? It's like, leave me alone.
It's like, I know now our stuff sort of blends between, if we're doing like all the Rose stuff, it sort of blends our, like her jazz / kind of like, I don't know, your voice just lends itself to that so well.
Yeah, I don't have any grit for rock, so.
With sort of my taste for rock.
Gotcha.
So it kind of blends both those. So it is fun to get to explore that. And eventually, I mean, I don't know, we don't really settle, I would say, on like styles overall, but we do end up settling on like a pocket for like one album and then move on. You know what I mean? Like, just to try to keep them, but I'm kind of in the same vein of like, if I'm writing, I really don't limit too much.
Yeah.
I just kind of write whatever.
Yeah, we always end up spending a lot of time, like when you're on DistroKid and you're trying to distribute your album, and it's like, pick two genres, and you're like, I don't know. There's like 200 to pick from.
Have you ever?
I don't know, man.
Have you spent a lot of time on DistroKid at all?
I've been on it. Actually,
I mean, there's not a lot to do, but there is. So there's a platform on there where you can submit people to like their personal playlists. I got hooked on this, like really bad.
Yeah.
All they do, you go on their page and they will show you like, they'll bring new artist after new artist by your page, and you can either upvote them or downvote them, and it like pushes them to playlists. If you ever want to find like new music that's like so just all
different
across the map, you literally can like pick a genre and it'll just show you like 100 different artists, and you can just say whether you liked it or not. I probably did that for like 2 weeks straight. I just loved it. Just enjoyed trying to get to hear whatever people do. And some of them are really bad, which is really fun. Like, I mean, I don't remember any of the bad ones specifically, but I remember just cackling at certain points because it's just all sorts of stuff comes through.
I believe it.
So overarchingly, we always ask everybody this. What would you say music means to you?
Music is a very dear friend of mine. I think that whenever I am delighted or have a happy moment, I naturally go into musical mode, whether it's like just singing whatever I'm doing or, singing some song that's, been on my heart. It's definitely like a language for me as well, something that I naturally speak and that I go to, especially when I'm happy, but has also helped me when I'm not so happy and I need something to help get me through. And as a worship leader as well, throughout the years, I've found so many benefits in singing and in playing and just allowing the joy of the Lord to really come in and change the atmosphere in times when there is like a sense of depression or there is a sense of sadness or something that I need to work through, or even like anger. Just getting that out. It's a great avenue. And I love how music is a language that pretty much everybody can speak, whether or not, you know the words. If it's in a language that you don't speak, you can feel the music and communicate in that way. I think that's really powerful.
Yeah, for me with music, it was always like before I was even writing, really listening for stuff that I felt like just was really real. And I think that when you do find these artists, they really put kind of their all of themselves like into what they're writing. Like it really does translate. And even if you don't, like even if you haven't been through the same things, like a lot of times even the feelings that come up when you're listening to songs like that, like they're relatable, even if it's not the story specifically.
You said that you do vocal lessons and stuff like that right now. What is the best piece of advice you think you can give an emerging artist or someone who's taking lessons or working on their craft and that kind of thing?
Gotcha. I would say to take care of what you've been given. Be a good steward over what you have. So that goes into taking care of your vocals, whether it's, drinking enough water and getting enough rest and just taking care of your body in general. But it's also taking the time to develop those things that you have. If you have a strong point, make sure that you're doing everything that you can to hone that. But also, if you have a weak point, ask your vocal coach or look on YouTube, because YouTube University is great. And of course, you want to vet those things because anybody can say things on the internet as well.
Yeah.
But do your research,
especially vocally.
Yeah.
Don't want to learn the wrong things there.
Exactly. But yeah, do what you can to develop what you already have and lean into what you have, rather than getting stuck in comparing to other people. I teach these two siblings, Sydney and Olivia, and they're so different. Like Sid is, I'd say, more laid back, but she's also, I think, more confident in the gifting that she has. And Olivia is very much, I don't know. She's in your face with her personality, but at the same time, she's much more critical of herself. And I find that with her, sometimes she'll be like, well, I can't do it like you. I'm like, sweetie, you're 9. I'm almost 30. So there's going to be a gap there, but you can do it like you, and you're going to get to that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, just stay encouraged and keep working on finding who you are as a vocalist.
Yeah. I think, for me with, like one of the best pieces of advice I think I got, when I started was just not letting stuff stop you from trying. So especially with recording, the idea that like you're always going to be the best is just like, you gotta just accept that that's not true. Yeah. And like, sometimes you're just going to sound not like you want. And, not letting that kind of be like a hurdle as a reason you don't, play the gig or go to the show or, try to sing the song at the recital or whatever, like all the different things I've done through the years. Just remembering like eventually if you keep going, it was interesting. You were talking about vocal runs. I had this thought earlier. And when you were talking about learning them and slowing them down, it reminded me a lot of, learning to play guitar on like for higher tempo stuff.
Yeah.
The slowing down on YouTube thing, that's real for that too. But the other thing is, kind of like in the way you're talking about getting your vocal cords to kind of not sync up, but that's what it is for guitar. Like most of the time, guitar players, like with tremolo picking, right? So I want to say it's 30-second notes, but I'm not that musically inclined. So, and it's just like one note, right? Like, and you're just picking that. Most people can kind of get there, but it's actually syncing that speed up with this hand and literally like constantly making sure it's alternate picked properly. And it's just such a similar sounding process to me. I'm sure it's probably a similar kind of like, not just work ethic to approach it, but then also like not being so hard on yourself for a long time. Have you had like a moment on stage that you felt like like a best or worst kind of moment on stage?
So I remember one time I was playing at church and, you know, just regular playing, I was fine. But the first lady came up and she was ministering for healing. She was like, Melody, sing to people's knees. And I was like, what? In my head, you know, and my leg was literally going like this
Like
the whole
just,
time,
nerves,
shaking. And I was
yeah.
like, your ligaments. I was like, am I singing the right? Because, you know, she had never asked me to do this. She would ask other people sometimes to sing, but I was like, why me? So, yeah, I definitely remember that as a shaky moment.
Yeah. Were you younger for that or?
No, I was 23, 24 or something like that. So, you know, it was just unexpected.
I had one. You were there for this too. I played while I was still in vocal coaching, we did like I want to say it was like at least once a year, but it was like maybe 4 or 5 months. They would do like a recital and everybody would have to have like a song prepped and you go and sing your song or whatever. The song that I had was Man Who Can't Be Moved by The Script, which I just had to look up. So when you see this cut in, but it was such a wordy song. Like I'm sitting here and I remember the cadence, but I don't even remember every word within the cadence now. Like I know the melody and I literally I think I got like, do you remember this? I got like a quarter of the way through the first verse and literally stopped and went, oh crap. And I pulled out my phone and I had like, I did something with the capo at the same time. I was just bad.
Tuned, and then you looked up the lyrics.
I full stopped.
And we're all just sitting here watching him. He's like, hold on. And we're like, Sarah, his vocal teacher's like, oh my God.
I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, well, they would rather me know the words to the song, right? And it was not professional, but you know, I was probably like 17, 18.
Yeah. I'm not good with the off the cusp stuff. I think I've done they weren't publicly in front of people.
Your church welcomes too.
No, I'm not going to talk about my church welcomes because people who watch the podcast already know about that. No, like there was times where like it would just be the worship team hanging out together or whatever, and we would do like she'd just be playing and people go into different songs. They're like, if you think of a song you want to go into, just like go into it. And I'd be sitting there like, oh my God, what has this chord progression? Like I cannot do the they'd start singing. I'm like, oh yeah, that does go. You know what I mean? But
my problem with this, with like spontaneous stuff is that I'm that guy that like, if I hear something that I think is really good, I literally pull out an iPhone and I start recording. I'm like, there's a couple where like a couple members of the team have like gone off and I'm like, we need to make sure we can remember this if we want to. And so I start recording like whatever's happening. Yeah. And then I just kind of like, my brain wants to go into writing mode. So I'm like, a new idea, you know.
I hear you.
I love that.
Or like, be in the moment, Billy.
Yeah. Do you have a dream collab of like another artist you would love to work with?
I think maybe Pharrell would be really awesome. Because he's got, you know, the production thing.
That dude is incredibly smart.
Yes.
He's amazing. Like, and when you recognize, like, you look at like the Despicable Me movies too.
Yes.
Like he directs like the overarching group of people that make like all the scores and stuff. That's just that's such a what do they call it? Like a range of ability to work in different environments.
For sure. And he has a really good voice too. My dad generally compares the way that he's at least on Happy to Curtis Mayfield, who's one of my dad's favorite artists. But yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be cool. And I watched. We were doing. I was working on a mix a couple weeks ago, and we had I watched a video of a guy that was working. He was doing I want to say he was doing some sort of processing on a Pharrell song. It was Pharrell was on it, and there was another guy on the verse. I literally watched like his little seminar on how he approached both their vocals and like the differences between them. And so I actually just was watching stuff on Pharrell's voice, which was cool.
We used to watch The Voice way back when he was on it or whatever. And
he had
I can't remember if it was you or someone else who said I would pick Pharrell because like he does like so much different stuff. Like you'd have so many options on his team.
I think he hears whatever potential you do have, like in a voice, like because he's a producer's ear. So I just felt like when we were watching and you were like looking at other judges, it's sort of like this like you know, if you want to go into rock, you pick Adam. If you want to go into country, you pick Blake. And where I felt like Pharrell was very much like able to approach any of them, which was really cool.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have you ever auditioned for anything like that? Just curiosity. I feel like you would do really well.
I've had a lot of people say that, so thank you.
Her too.
I know people. I have no interest in doing that, but
Well, you have a very lovely voice, so
thank you.
you know, if we go, we can go together.
Yeah, there you go.
Do it.
If enough people wear us down.
Yes, indeed.
Have you ever done it?
I haven't.
No.
I've thought about going to The Voice. This has nothing to do with anything, but I just thought of it, so I'm going to share it. I found this letter that I wrote to American Idol when I was like in second grade because I was upset about the decision that they made, and I just found it like last year when I was going through
like who they chose, or
or they sent the person that they sent home that week, and I was like, I don't know what I thought I was going to do with it, but it's written out in my second grade hand. I'm very dissatisfied, or whatever I said, with this decision. I don't think that it's right.
Do you remember who it was?
No, I don't.
Like who went home that you were a big fan of?
I don't.
Second grade.
I know in second grade that Ruben Studdard won.
Okay.
And my mom was in grad school at UNC Charlotte, and Clay Aiken was also graduating that year too, which I thought was cool. But no, I don't remember what the decision was. I just know I was upset, and I wrote a letter to I think I addressed it to Paula, Simon, and Randy. So,
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we're running a little low on time,
Gotcha.
but I know we'll do it the sort of we need to. But I have two questions left. But I know you said one of them you try to refrain from doing, so we might cut it if we need to.
Okay.
Which was, are you working on stuff behind the scenes and stuff you want to tell us about?
I mean,
without it being.
No, we're cool.
It's not set in stone.
I mean, there's no telling when it's gonna come out, but yes, I'm working. I actually have a whole album, like the tracks that I want to do on it. I have the concept. I have everything pretty much written, and yeah, there's just no telling when it's gonna actually make it out into the world.
Yeah.
But I know what I want the first single to be. It's actually the song that I'm planning on playing today.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so that one's called Cuppa.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Can you
just
give?
let you
Yeah.
hang.
Well, that's perfect because the next question is will you tell us about the song you're doing today?
Yeah, sure. So this was a song that I wrote 2017, I think it was. And it's actually about a guy that's married to somebody else now. So that's fun. He wasn't married to her at the time. But yeah, I thought for the longest time that we were gonna, do life together. It just didn't work out that way. And we're still cool and everything. And I have a song that people seem to like a lot and relate to a lot. I don't know. It's a love song. I don't know what else to say other than, it's about him and it's a love song.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, Melody, thank you so much for being on the show. I think we're gonna wrap it here. Is there a place that people can go to find you on like social media and stuff you want to shout out?
Yes, I am most active on Instagram, which is not saying much because we've got to get more consistent there. But it's Emaejai. And actually, if you search that on Facebook or YouTube as well, I'll come up Emaejai for Emaejai.
Well, thank you to everybody who has watched this episode or listened. Without further ado, here is Cuppa by Emaejai.
Bye.
Woo-hoo.
You're not the only one I ever felt for, just the one I fell for. Me and more, I enjoy. I could talk to you for hours, never tire out, cause that brain of yours is kicking. Better find out how it's sticking, so tell me what you're thinking, babe. While you're at it, go and tell me what you're drinking, babe. Wanna be a cup of tea, boy, brew just how you like it. Be my coffee in the morning, waking me up. Free refills when you need them, cause you're a blessing, baby. tea, boy, brew just how you like it. Be my coffee in the morning, waking me up. Free refills when you need 'em, 'cause you're a blessing, baby. Overflowing my cup, oh, 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 oh. Using living water overflowing just to make up the brew. I just wanna spend my life by streams of living water with you. Using living water overflowing to make up the brew. I just wanna percolate by streams of living